Alright, so yeah, it's Nash, and I'm going to tell my life story, you know. The reason why I'm doing it is a few people have told me in the past, you know, I should write a book because I've done some interesting things and all that, you know. And also I'm getting old, and you know, so I want to pass on to my grandkids and those that follow what I was all about and how come things were as they were. So with that in mind, then I suppose we just jump in it. I mean, like, it's harder than you think, you know. Sort of trying to write a book, you know. I mean, I'm not that very good at spelling anyway. You know, I didn't do well at school and all that, and so my spelling's a bit atrocious, to be fair. And you know, so like a video book is probably the best way of doing it, isn't it? You know, is what I'm thinking. So with all that in mind, where do you start? You know, do you start like, do I introduce myself first and then go into the past, or do I just kick off with the past, or you know? So I'm going with like just kick off with the past, start at the start, so to speak, and work forward as you go through life. You know, I mean, I dare say for some of you, the start is always going to be a bit boring, isn't it? You know, toddlers and you know, young kids, and it's not as exciting as, you know, rock and roll and all that, you know. But you know, you've got to start somewhere, and if we start at the start, you get a flavour. So anyway, with all that in mind, I was born in 1960, summer 1960, in a place called Wood End, which was then and is now a slum. You know, always has been, always will be. The council do the bit every once in a while, you know, give it a paint over while they bring some officials around and show everybody about the redevelopment, but it's just fucking whitewash, isn't it? You know, so that's all it was like. It was a slum then, and it still is now. You know, the old tenement buildings, 3 stories, and it, you know, one on each side as you go up, and houses as well. But it was quite a run-down area, and it's funny, you know, it was cold and it was wet, even in summertime. It just all seemed to be cold and wet and sort of, you know, grey, overcast, chimney smoke, you know, typical early 60s, you know, setting. But when you're a kid, you don't notice that you don't notice the cold, and you know. I mean, I remember one of my earliest memories is what I thought was a ladybug, and it had come into the front room and by the patio window, which was like the back door, because we was on the ground floor, you know. It got in, and it was walking around the windowsill, you know, at the bottom there, bottom of the door. I was poking it around. It looked like a ladybird, except for it was sort of brown, and it wasn't really, I suppose it was part of the family, but whatever. To me it was a ladybird, you know, and that was like marvellous, you know. Spent hours toying with this little thing along the and only after God knows how long I noticed that I was cold, you know. So go and get some warm, but that's what it was like. Lino didn't have carpets, didn't have a fridge, didn't have TVs. We had a radio. So like at Christmas, back then, when when you make jellies or something, like for one time my mum made jellies, you know, and custard and like a little trifle, which proved to be disastrous because to get it to set, she had to put it in a bath, you know, put it in the bath with a little bit of water. So set the bowls in a bit of water at the bottom of the bath, and it'll set eventually, you know, because it gets pretty cold, blah blah blah. But the problem was, every time I went to the toilet for a wee, I was looking in the bathroom. There's the bath, and it's got a big jelly in it, it's got a big custard in it, it's got a trifle in it, you know. So what do you do, you know? A little bit here, a little bit there. So 10 minutes later, go for a wee, you know. 10 minutes later, go for a wee, you know. So I suppose you think you're clever, innit, you know. But it wasn't only me that was doing it, obviously. My other two brothers must have been doing it as well, you know. So anyway, you know, the last time I went in, I sort of smoothed it over because it was obviously there's only about a quarter of it left in each of the bowls, you know. Oh, fucking hell. You know, Margot's mad, innit, you know, lines is all up in the kitchen, you know, who's done this, blah, blah, blah. And no one was grassing, you know. And, you know, it was going to be spanking time, you know, you're going to get a right whacking now, you know, she was going mental. So I don't know what made me do it. You know, they obviously had their bit, but I just wanted to bring an end to it, you know. Ma was right freaking out, so I put my hands up to it. Man alive. The other two got off with it, you know, sent off to bed, but not me. I got the fucking jelly on my head, fucking, you like jelly and all that, the custard on my head, and what was left of the trifle and all that. Good old tanning, and sent off to bed. Well, the nightmare is that I fell asleep like that with all the stuff in my hair and all, and the next day, you know, combing it out and all that. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. You thought it was bad last night, you wait till you get this on you, you know. So that's a funny story about one Christmas at our house, you know. All right.